There we go. Evening, everybody. I forgot to turn my camera on. So, welcome to another edition of Rob's Little Blue Book. I have given up on the lav mic. I didn't like the way it sounded, so we're trying out the shotgun again. Hopefully that's okay. Excited about tonight. We're doing spaghetti and meatballs, and I have, over the last few days, learned some things about spaghetti and meatballs that I didn't know. And in fact, I think we've done this, I think we did this way back in the Twitch days. And I like the way I used to make spaghetti and meatballs, but the one thing that always bugged me was, it had, like, the meatballs were big. So you had to kind of serve spaghetti with a knife and fork. So you had to cut up the meatballs and then twirl your pasta, stab part of a meatball, and eat it. And it seemed, I don't know, it just didn't seem right. And it turns out it's not right. Traditionally, in Abruzzo, which is in the region of Palermo? I forget. Anyway, they make it with really small meatballs so that you get some meatballs and some pasta and some sauce all together. And I've made it a couple times, and I wanted to share it with you guys because it's also one of my favorite types of meals to make, which I guess called family style, where you make a giant bowl or platter of something and you pass it around. Everybody takes what they want and eat it, and it's really social, and it's a really fun, relaxed way to eat. And rather than, I love, don't get me wrong, I love plating stuff and doing fancy things as much as the next guy, but sometimes you just want to put a big thing on the table and pass it around and have everybody have a good time. So we're going to do that tonight. And we are actually doing another cocktail. So turns out I only missed one cocktail week because I ran out of ideas, but had a friend over in the last couple of weeks, and they asked for a vodka martini, which to me is kind of an anathema, but I, of course, didn't say anything. I made him a vodka martini because it's what he wants, right? Everybody likes what they want. That's fine. But it got me thinking about vodka martinis, but not for very long because I still don't like them. But in thinking about them and doing some researching on martinis, I discovered or rediscovered the Vesper. And the Vesper is kind of interesting because it's a cocktail that appears in the first James Bond first James Bond book, Casino Royale. And James Bond, the drink is actually invented by Ian Fleming, the author. And it is ordered by James Bond, who says, as he's instructing the bartender, because he's kind of a douche in this movie, it's 3 measures of Gordon's, 1 of vodka, half a measure of Quina Lillet. Shake it very well until it's ice cold. And I think throw in a big slice of lemon or something, if I remember the book right. You shouldn't shake a martini, but we may do that tonight anyway, just to make it authentic to the book. But I thought I would try it out, because you know what? There's vodka in this martini. A little bit of vodka in a martini. It's mostly gin, so it's mostly going to be okay. So I'm going to do that first, and let's get on that. Okay, so we have, this is, I'm going to stir it. Am I going to shake it? I'm not going to shake it because I forgot the other half of my shaker across the room. So I'm going to stir it. And to be honest, guys, like, you don't want to shake a drink that's only spirits. It over-dilutes it. You don't want ice floating in the top of your martini. There's just so many things wrong with shake, and it gets cloudy. You know, you have all these beautiful, clear spirits, and then you're going to shake the crap out of them, and then, yeah. So we're just not going to do that. I thought I was going to try it, but I don't feel like going across the room. So, the other thing that Bond claims in the book is that if he has any serious thinking to do, he will have only 1 cocktail before dinner, but he likes it to be a large one. And this is a bruiser of a cocktail, like 3 ounces of gin. I think he found a loophole here. Like, I don't think you could drink more than 1 of these in an evening and survive. Anyway, I'm also, it gives me an excuse to use up some of my Smirnoff, which I don't really use for anything else, or use for anything, actually. Anyway, and then half an ounce of Quina Lillet. Quina Lillet's interesting. It was created in France around the turn of the century, just before maybe. There's a whole slew of wine spirits or wine tonics. This one is actually flavored with quinine, which is the same ingredient in tonic water. And then it split off. There was another quinoa variant, so they started calling this one Lillet Blanc because it's white. The other one wasn't. But that's really the only one that survives today. It's a nice aperitif. It's called the Bordeaux of aperitifs, or maybe it's the aperitif of Bordeaux. But either way, it's very French. So let's give this a stir and see where we're at. The quinoa in the name comes from the bark of the tree that quinine comes from, the quina tree or something like that. Somebody's gonna have to look that up, but I'm pretty sure that's right. Partly right, somewhat right. Anyway. So and again, we stir for 10 seconds. After that, there's no point stirring any longer. Your drink doesn't get any colder and it doesn't get any more diluted. So that's about right. Yeah, and I don't even think you could serve this in a martini glass. It's too damn big. Fortunately, we have a coupe here. The mother of all martini glasses, I guess. We're going to garnish it as Bond instructed with a large, thin slice of lemon. Just take this off here. Think that's large enough? I think Bond would approve of that. I'm going to give this a couple squeezes and express some of the oils out of the lemon right into the drink. And then just drop it in. If I was feeling fancier, I'd twist that. But not really feeling very fancy tonight. All right, cheers, guys. That is the Vesper. Oh, by the way, this is named after the villain, one of the villains in the book, whose name was Vesper, and he has a last name. I don't remember what it is. Okay, that's kind of interesting. I mean, obviously it tastes a little bit like a martini. Oh, that is a strong cocktail. You can actually taste the vodka in it, which to me is a little disappointing. But if you like vodka, you probably really enjoy this drink. Yeah, this one's a bruiser. This just basically tastes like straight alcohol. Lind, Vesper Lind. Okay, well that's going to take me about 3 days to drink, so let's get on with the rest of what we're doing tonight. Yeah, no kidding. I mean, it's 4.5 ounces of high proof alcohol. Like, yikes. Okay, so tonight I have some cool things to tell you, show you. I've learned some things. We're doing spaghetti with meatballs, and this sauce is really easy to get put together. So we are going to throw the sauce together because I do want it to simmer for a bit. I have a bit of a hack for the sauce, which is great because it means this goes together really, really fast. Then we're going to make the meatballs, and then we're going to assemble the dish. So one of the things I learned, this is passata, which I got at our little Italian market. They make it in the store. It's awesome. You can buy passata in a jar in the grocery store, but at the little market, they cook theirs first before they bottle it, which is fantastic because this is really now I just have to heat it up. Normally with a passata for this sauce, you'd want it to simmer for an hour, but in this particular case, we don't need to, which means you can throw together this tomato sauce in like 10 minutes. So we're going to do that first. What else are we going to do? No, let's just do it. I saved the prep for you guys today because I wasn't feeling like getting everything ready before, so you're going to have to bear with me. We're going to peel a carrot. Very straightforward. So we're making the Italian tomato sauces start with a sofrito. Some of them do. This one does. And a sofrito is equal parts carrots, celery, and onion. Every cuisine has a little sauteed vegetable start like this. In France, of course, it's a mirepoix. The only difference between a mirepoix and a sofrito is a mirepoix is 2 parts onion, 1 part carrot, 1 part celery. Yes, I'm peeling the celery. Why am I peeling the celery? Who peels celery? That's great. But I'll tell you, this outer skin on the celery that I'm taking off here is really quite bitter. And if you've never peeled your celery before, it's It does improve the taste a lot. If you don't believe me, you could peel a bunch of celery, make yourselves a little salad with that, and try that out and see how you feel about it. It's not pleasant. So there you go. That's the amazing thing about cooking too, is you don't have to take anybody's word for anything. People can tell you whatever they want about their food, but all you have to do is taste it. I had discussion with my dad long time ago. We were talking about eggs because my dad was he would do his research on everything, and he wasn't exactly frugal because he had no problem spending money. But for example, if he was going to buy like a book of matches, he would research all the brands of matches, and he would buy the absolute best value for the money book of matches that you could get. And he, like me actually, liked to have a poached egg in the morning just on toast. And so I was telling him that other more expensive eggs were better, and he's like, no, he just didn't believe it. He was like, why would I pay $6 for a carton of eggs when I can buy eggs for $2.79? Especially if you go to like Metro and get the Compliments brand, which I've done them once or twice and just thrown out. But I didn't have to convince him. This is an argument you don't have to convince anybody. You can say, look, go buy the good eggs and try them out. And if they taste better, you know. And if they don't taste better to you, then you, by all means, save money on eggs. And maybe quit smoking because you can't taste anything. Which he did. Okay, so let's get this onion cut up. And I'm going to shoot for roughly 3 parts of each. Like, I'm not going to be totally fanatical about it. And I don't want a ton. I'm just making this for. Well, I'm going to have extra sauce actually, because I'm going to use the whole. Well, maybe I won't actually. Let's just make it for 2 tonight. Carrots are really straightforward too. I usually just whack these guys in half like this. And you can dice your carrots if you're in a hurry too. And I have done this on occasion. You can just chunk your carrots and throw them in your food processor. Just pulse them a couple of times. It doesn't have to be diced like this. There's no julienne police coming around to your place making sure you did it just right, just so. And in fact, in a Italian sugo, you would actually be blending these right into the sauce anyway. So if you don't feel like prepping your carrots like this, tell people you're making a sugo. Tell them it's rustic. Tell them whatever you want. It's your dish, right? The thing is, if you start and use fantastic ingredients from the get-go, you just can't go too far wrong. There's nothing you can do when you start with the best ingredients to screw it up. It's going to taste great. Being mindful of my fingers here. I normally don't prep with a smaller knife, but whatever. Again, celery, very straightforward. Any questions on any of this? I mean, I think it's hard to have questions about carrot, celery, and onion, but just in case. And I've got about equal parts of this. But I did want to show you guys some of the prep because this is just a super easy tomato sauce. And of course, you can use this tomato sauce for, you don't have to use it for spaghetti and meatball. You could use this tomato sauce for anything you want. This is just a good, solid, basic tomato sauce. This is I make another tomato sauce, which is also quick and easy, which is even simpler, which involves just tomatoes. You whack an onion in half and just put the onion halves into the pan. The julienne police, well, knock on wood, because they won't, right? Yeah, no, the julienne police I'm pretty sure I just made up. There you go. Okay. So, we got our vegetables. Let's get a pan going here, get some fire. I'm going to use a good slug of olive oil. Oh yeah. I'm in the wrong corner here. Hang on. You guys can't see the pan. Blocking everything. How's that? Better? Okay. So I'm using olive oil here. We've talked about this a couple of times. People will tell you, don't saute with olive oil, it has a low smoke point, blah, blah, blah. And they're not wrong. Like, of all the oils, olive oil has the lowest smoke point. However, we're not going to be cooking. If you're sauteing your vegetables over a flame that's high enough to make the smoke point of olive oil relevant, you're going too hot. Turn it down a bit. And I'm just waiting for a little shimmer here. I do want the oil to come up to a little bit of a temperature here before this stuff goes in. And you guys can't, well, maybe you can't see it. You get that little shimmer. You get that, now just smell it. Tells me the oil's ready. Get that satisfying sizzle. As always, guys, pay attention to the sounds in your kitchen. What your food's doing. It'll tell you what's going on. Okay, and again, I say this every time we saute vegetables. I'm going to go fast here because I want these to soften and reduce quickly so I'm not cooking sauce in front of you guys all night. But this should normally take about 10 minutes, maybe even a little bit longer. I'm sacrificing maybe theoretically a tiny bit of flavor by softening this a little faster than normal. But it's more about the pace of your cooking. You know, you're not on the line in a restaurant. You're not working under the brigade system. You don't have Gordon Ramsay telling you you're a fucking donkey in the background. Take your time and enjoy your cooking. You know, it's supposed to be fun. I think a lot of people, and you know, this is one of the trends that kind of bugs me a little bit about and I do it too. I'm doing it tonight. I talk about the weeknight meal, like it's somehow an advantage to be able to knock out the weeknight chore of cooking and getting a meal on the table quickly. And I don't think that's an advantage. Cooking's fun. You know, why not make it last a little while? Take your time with it. Not in a hurry. Have an extra glass of wine while you saute your vegetables over a lower heat, right? Otherwise, I mean, you might as well just order, right? Anyway, I did turn it down a little bit because I got a couple of onions went dark real quick. You don't want anything burned, obviously. So, but this is actually softening up pretty damn quick. So it's time to try out a little more Vesper. So the other disadvantage of making giant James Bond cocktails is you want your cocktail to be cold the whole time you're drinking it. And if you drink a 4.5 ounce cocktail fast enough that it's cold the whole time, you're gonna be on the floor. So while I do like this cocktail, I think in the future, if I'm gonna make it, I will make a half portion and James Bond can look down on me in derision, I guess. Okay, this is actually going really quick. Nice. Any questions? I know we're just sauteing vegetables here. You'll see we're going to throw the passata in a sec. I may take a week and show you guys how to make like a homemade passata. It's really fun. It's really easy. You do need a food mill, but it's fun. Now, having said that, I don't think I can make a passata as good as they make it at my little market. So this is kind of a score. Okay, so anyway, let's get. There we go. Do a half measure tonight. Wait, James Bond isn't real? You mean Internal Affairs was in on it the whole time? Now we're shooting for obscure Simpsons references, but anyway. Okay, so that's pretty much done. It's going to need a little bit of salt, and I'm going to start with my base level of salt for a dish like this. And then I'm just going to pop it on a, well, I'm going to bring it up. Let me bring it up temperature, and then it's going to go on a burner while we continue on with our quest. So the nice thing about this using a passata, so if you were using jarred passata from a store, nothing wrong with that, then you would throw this on a low simmer for about an hour. But since the kind people at Casa Mia have already cooked this, I'm really just throwing it on the burner to stay warm. I do want it to come up to temperature. I'm gonna blast it. Oh, there we go. Okay, great. So that's good. That's out of the way. This can go out of the way. Any questions on the tomato sauce before we go on to the meatballs? Meatballs are also really easy. All right, pan of the meatballs. Okay. Ingredients in the meatballs, super simple. We have this is ground beef. You can use veal would be best for this because it's nice and tender. I didn't have any. I happen to have some ground beef, so I'm going to use that. You could use like a meatball mix, like ground beef, ground veal, and ground pork. You could use half beef, half pork, pretty much kind of whatever you want. I am using only ground beef tonight. So first up, we're going to put a little bit of parsley in. And not a ton. Not that much. Now, you do want your parsley pretty fine for this, and you'll see why in a sec, because we actually make really small meatballs. And if your parsley isn't pretty fine, you get like giant parsley leaves sticking out of your meatballs, which is fine, I guess. It just makes them a little harder to work with. So I'm going to give this a pretty decent mince there, but I feel good about that. That goes in. And it gets an egg. And it gets a good chunk. So I'm using, what is that? Pecorino Romano tonight. You want a lot. It's good. You could use Parm here. You could use any sheep's milk cheese. You could use Comte if you like French sheep's milk cheeses. I wouldn't use Grano Padano here. I think you want a little sharpness here. So use an aged Parm or Romano, Pecorino rather. And I'm giving that a good slug in there. A little more. And this stuff's great. It tastes amazing. Okay. And then a little bit of salt. A little more salt. Oh, yeah, pepper. No, need a little bit of pepper. Again, I'm using the cam pot. You can use whatever peppercorns you want. If you can't find these, Atella cherry peppercorns are great. You can get them anywhere these days. So, but get at least those. Exactly. You can't go wrong with too much cheese. Okay. And that actually seems about the right amount of pepper. There you go. And I'm going to sort of tap here. I'm going to mix this. I'm just going to do it with my hands. You can mix this any way you want, but hands is the best way to do it. You do want, well, you'll see. So making these meatballs, it's a little bit messy. Not messy. It's a little tricky. You need to get, I put olive oil in my hands. Any kind of oil will do, because otherwise they'll stick. And you'll see, like, we're going to make, like, little meatballs. It's going to seem weird at first, but and it takes a long time. Sabrina was telling me, like, this would be like a family thing. Like, everybody, Nona would get around the table, and everybody sits around, the kids, and everybody makes the little meatballs. For me, it's just me tonight. So I'm going to be doing it solo. And you guys got to watch me make meatballs. But it doesn't really take that long. And you can also like, you can't really make these too small. It's almost hard to make them small enough, right? This one's even a little bit big, but there you go. And you can do like a little rolling thing, or you can pinch them together, whatever it takes to get them together. And one thing I do want to do, so if you're doing this at home, I would recommend lining this with a parchment paper. I'm just going to shoot it with a bit of oil so that meatballs don't stick. And really, this is only so that I can slide them into the water. You'll see in a sec more easily. But you don't want them to stick. So parchment paper, spray it with oil, you know, whatever it takes to get it done. And I'm going to go as quick as I can here. But as again, like, don't rush this part. This is fun. Making little meatballs is kind of fun. These are actually a little bit on the big side, but I'm doing the best I can. And eventually, yeah, there we go. And then you get to the point where, I don't know if you guys can see, it's like kind of in the palms of my hands. Get a little rolling action going. It's almost like making a, I don't even know how to, like you make one of those buns. I make buns like this. There's a bun I make that it's the same thing. You get the same rolling into a ball motion. But my hands are covered in oil, and you're just making up little meatballs. And I know they look small, and I know this seems a little odd, especially if you're used to like North American style spaghetti meatballs. And one of the other things that actually inspired me to make this dish is I used to go to, like when I was a kid, old spaghetti factory. It's gone now. Yeah, I'll do that in a sec. I used to go to the old spaghetti factory like as a kid, and or was it the organ grinder? I think I went to both. Does anybody remember the organ grinder? The organ grinder was like also an Italian spaghetti factory, but it had like all these sort of automatic musical instruments in the rafters, like above the restaurant, and it would just play. There was somebody who played them. Like the whole restaurant was an instrument. It was very, very strange. But it was awesome when you were a kid. But between that and the old spaghetti factory, those are places that just served up like, I mean, the only thing they had going for them was they served up just giant plates of spaghetti for families, and it was pretty cheap. There's nothing wrong with that. And so I kind of wanted to like, you know, recreate that you know, a good cheap family meal. And this is a meal that, you know, I shouldn't say cheap. It's inexpensive. And you can still make it with like the very, very best ingredients. Using the best ingredients doesn't have to mean your dish is expensive. You know, I mean, if you're using the very, very best foie gras, for example, yeah, it's going to be expensive. Using the best caviar money can buy, again, you don't need to. You know, using the best olive oil money can buy is not hugely expensive. Using the best ground beef or ground veal, although I will say meat's getting more expensive these days, but it doesn't have to be like, it's not killer. It's not going to make you weep at the cashier, you know? I've never wept at the cashier. I have gotten some sticker shock every once in a while, especially if I go down to St. Lawrence Market and I'm shopping for like a fancy dinner. I tend to select my ingredients first and then wince when I get to the cashier with it. Like, I don't really do the mental math until I get to the cashier, but anyway. Nothing wrong with spending money on food. You only get so many meals, right? Like everybody has a finite number of meals. And, you know, I think about that sometimes every time I pull into, like, don't do it as much anymore, but you pull into the McDonald's drive-thru. Wow, I'm using up one of my meals that's limited on McDonald's. Why am I doing that? It's also one of the reasons I stopped cooking for leftovers. Here's another trend okay, I hate it. I know that there's a place in this world for meal prep. If you are super busy and you just don't have time to cook during the week, and let's face it, that's a reality for a lot of people. I totally get meal prep. You know, make all your stuff on the Sunday, put it in the freezer, take it out when you need to, heat it up, and go. Okay, I get it. However, that's kind of tragic to me. And the whole concept of making something and then yeah, a little bit. I'm kind of in that space this week. Yeah, yeah, I'm feeling a little philosophical. But I will say that I stopped making extra portions for leftovers because I realized, first of all, there are very, very, very few dishes. Yeah, no, we're all over the place tonight. It's because I have to make so many friggin' meatballs. I gotta talk about some. There are very, very few dishes, like maybe chili, that reheat well. So anything that you reheat the next day, anything that's going to be a leftover meal, it's not going to be at its best. So there's that. So you're sacrificing flavor and texture and just general goodness. But the other thing is, for me, like, I like cooking. So every time I make something for leftovers, then I'm depriving myself of an opportunity to cook. Like, every time I have a bowl of leftovers, like, I could have made something fun and fresh. Anyway, there you go. I'm almost done. We're almost done with the meatball rolling philosophy. See, I had like a brood or something. This is one of the reasons I used to love making tortellini with the kids. First of all, it's fun. Second of all, it goes a lot faster when you got two people helping you. And little kids are like awesome for tortellini because they have small hands and they make the best little tortellini. Smaller than I can make. And tortellini should be small. I kind of make tortelloni. Okay. Oh, you know what I should do though? Should turn the water on while we're doing this. Give me a sec, guys. Other water, that one too. Okay. So you'll see in a sec. Well, I mean, it's not really labor because I didn't pay them. It was more of well, anyway, I'm not gonna go there this week. I'm not gonna get that philosophical, but yeah. Okay, almost done. So you're probably wondering, like, well, how the hell do you cook these things? And that's a good question. We are going to actually boil them. I guess it's more like blanch them for about just over a minute, basically just until they float up. That seals the meatball, pretty much cooks it through. And the main reason we're doing that is we don't want it to fall. These are tiny, right? So if I just throw these in the sauce to cook, they are going to fall apart. So blanching them in the water firms them up. It kind of seals them, and we're actually going to heat them. So what we're going to do, well, you'll see, we're going to heat them up in like a little bit of the sauce on the side before we add it to the main sauce. We're going to have a side sauce. Okay, now I should have turned on the water before now, and I didn't. So we're going to have to wait for a sec. The sauce looks great. And yeah, we're just going to have to wait for it. Maybe I'll use the big burner here. Get this pot boiling fast. Okay, so any questions? I'm gonna try some more of this Vesper cocktail. I also discovered that these little crafts I have, which I use for stream to hold liquids, but if I put enough spaghetti in the neck to fill it up, it's exactly the right portion for two people. A kitchen hack for you. Should make a TikTok on that. I don't understand those life hack videos. 9 times out of 10, it's like something you would never want to do. I don't get it. Or the What are the other hacks? Not life hacks. No, it's gone. Oh, the 5-minute crafts. And it carries over to food too. I watch TikToks where somebody's like, make this currently trending meal, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Anyway, we'll see. So for the sauce, for the meatballs to rest, we're going to get a ladle full of sauce, maybe 2. Maybe 2.5. And we're gonna warm them up. You guys can see. So we're just gonna take our meatballs when they come out of the water. Yes, the cement ones are hilarious. I haven't seen too many cooking cement ones, but the meatballs are gonna go in here to stay warm, gently cradled in this sauce so that they don't bust apart. And then I'll show you when we assemble the whole dish how we do it. That can go off actually. All right, well, we're gonna have to wait for a little bit. How's the sound, by the way? I've gone back to the other mic. I didn't like the sound of the lav mic. I didn't like being tethered to it. I almost ripped the cord out like a dozen times, and I didn't like it sound enough to invest in a cordless version. So we're back to the old setup. It seems to be working better. I hope it sounds okay. I'm tempted just to drop like a big boom mic in over top of everything. Okay, so I think we've covered everything. We covered all the cocktail stuff. We covered all the ingredients in the dish. We talked about the different cheeses you can use. I do like spaghetti for this. Obviously, it's spaghetti and meatballs. You want a pretty spaghetti comes in different sizes, and you want a pretty large spaghetti. This is like a number 12, I think. But this is Rumo. Again, dried plastic. Look at this, guys. It's got a nice light blonde color to it. If your pasta is dark yellow, and first of all, if it's smooth, just don't buy it. There's a whole bunch of reasons that's not a good thing, but stay away from smooth pasta. And if it's dark, it means they dried it too fast. So there you go. Okay, so meatballs for just basically till they float up. Excuse I spray myself with boiling water. We're just gonna let them sit, then we'll pull them out. Hey, Pa, how's it going? And you don't even really have to time this part. We're not really cooking them. Like, they will end up, by the time they float up to the top, they're cooked all the way through. So you can just kind of like start grabbing them out as they come up, float up to the top. Maybe lift this off while we're waiting. Okay. Turn them down a bit. There we go. You can get oh, you guys can't see. Let me show you. Show you how these guys floated up to the top. So I turned the heat down a bit because, well, off actually. At a rolling boil, I can't. They won't float up, but just take them out, and then straight into the sauce. Be gentle with them. You don't want them to bust apart, and you spend a lot of time making them. That's done. And we're just going to give these a little stir. And these are going to go back on the heat. So this is how you keep your meatballs. And then when we assemble the dish, we're going to like use these separately from the sauce. And you'll see how that works in a sec. Well, 12 minutes actually, because I got to cook the pasta. Okay, I can do a little straightening up. Any questions on cooking the meatballs? I mean, boil for a minute isn't really all that complicated, is it? Always a good idea to like clean your space as you go. And as I said, I've said this a million times before, I'm going to say it again. You see me throwing the stuff in the sink and it's building up, but when I'm cooking on my own, not on stream, I will always be cleaning as I go. It takes no extra time. You always have 30 seconds. I mean, it almost takes no extra time. When you put something in the sink, just give it a rinse, wash it, put it in your drying rack, or if you have a dishwasher, throw it in there. And then when you're done your meal, the only thing you have to clean up is your plates. Okay, well, let's talk for 12 minutes because that's the amount of time we have left on the pasta. I wasn't sure how to time this. I didn't want to rush through the meatballs. I probably should have thrown the pasta in first, but not a perfect world. How are things in Kingston, Paul? How are you guys doing? This would be, by the way, an amazing meal for you guys to do for the kids because this is like kind of a no-brainer, right? It's so easy and it's so tasty. It's great comfort food when you're sick, for sure. So, yeah, that cocktail, man, I don't know. That is something else. I think I'm not going to finish that. I won't be able to get up after stream if I do. So, I'm switching to wine, guys. If you're going to make yourself a Vesper, cut it in half. How's the sound of the pot? I keep asking you guys about the sound. I do rewatch these to see how the sound levels are. Unfortunately, I can't do it during stream, so I'm always curious when I make a change to see if it makes a difference. All right, well, we got 9 minutes to talk about it. I know what I can do, so we're gonna ask for water. Let me do that real quick. Give me 2 seconds, guys. I'll be right back. I have returned. It is the kitchen doing kitchen things. I'm glad I'm clear. I have this ongoing battle with the kitchen noises because sometimes, like, especially if I'm running the deep fryer, it's really loud. It just blows everything out. So I've been experimenting with different mics and different setups. Hey, Sabrina. Yeah, and again, see, that's the thing with the noise gate. I don't know what to do because when I start talking, if I stop talking like this, then noise gate kicks in, but sometimes it, for a vegan version, yeah, absolutely you could. That's a good question though. I'm a huge fan, by the way, of the Impossible Meat products and Beyond Meat and whatever you want to, not whatever you want to call them, but there's different versions. I think they should be fine. Like, I think you could do exactly what we did. The texture's a little different, but I don't think it would be bad. I've noticed when we fry the Beyond Meat, it crisps up really quick, which isn't necessarily bad, but you'd want to experiment. But yeah, absolutely, you could do a vegan version of this. Having said that, though, like spaghetti with meatballs is a thing. If you're vegan or vegetarian, there are amazing vegetarian dishes you can make that don't imitate meat dishes. Is one of the things that I'm not totally clear on with, like, believe me, I totally understand vegetarians and vegans and all the reasons they do all of those things. It makes perfect sense to me. But what I don't understand is if you're a vegetarian or a vegan, why there are so many amazing vegetarian dishes to make and vegan dishes that you don't have to imitate a meat dish. Like, cook what's good. There's so many fantastic ingredients that don't involve meat that you can go and get that are amazing in and of their own right, that you don't need to recreate a meat product. Now, if you're a vegetarian and you just miss the taste of a really, really great hamburger, then I get it, because the Beyond Meat products are great. We did it for Serena's birthday. Like, had an amazing barbecue, and I used the Beyond Meat to make vegan burgers, and you can't tell them apart. The texture's a little different, but they taste amazing. So, anyway. There you go. So, zucchini ricotta meatball, I'll have to look into that. But, yeah. Yes, and I think Serena's right. Like, you're right. The meat dishes it's part of a cuisine, and if you want to participate in that, then I totally understand that. I think that's a little bit unfortunate in a way, though, because maybe it isn't. I don't know. Like, not sure. I'm not sure, guys. Like, you should be able to eat. Like, the whole point of cooking, the whole point of eating, is to enjoy what you like. You should be able to cook and prepare and eat what you like in any setting. And I guess that's not entirely true. But for me, I can't imagine making something that. I cook for people. I cook vegetarian, not all the time, frequently, for people who are vegetarian or vegan. I'm happy to do that because I want to cook what people like. Anyway, that's probably a bigger, endless topic, a topic that you just can't tackle in one stream. But we are really covering the philosophical basis tonight, aren't we? I do like zucchini. I'm almost tempted to do the ratatouille, the ratatouille from Ratatouille again. That was a really fun stream, and that got lost in the switch from Twitch, and also I didn't have the good cameras and everything. Maybe we'll do that. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is future streams. We've talked about different ideas, and since we have a couple minutes, let's talk about that. I really like. I'm gonna do the Ratatouille again. It was just too much fun not to do again, and it's been a while. I can repeat, right? I love the Italian cooking. I mean, continue to do that. But I also like this family style thing. I think I want to tackle that a little bit more too. This is a meal that, like, these kinds of meals are things that, I only cook for two, but when we have a big party, I love doing that. And I think that's a really great skill, technique, style of dish to make. So I'd kind of like to do that as well. And I'm still working on street food because it's also really fun. So those are the three paths that I'm looking, and I'm happy to, if you guys think of something, just let me know, right? I'm happy to take requests. Obviously, I don't have to be the only one thinking these, and everybody's been really great about, providing ideas for streams and stuff like that. I know I keep coming back to Italian, but quite frankly, like, I like cooking that. But I've also been toying with a little bit of Mexican. We did the chiles rellenos, which was really fun. Definitely want to do that again. And if you guys, I know that says tortellini last week. If you missed it last week, definitely check out that dish. It tasted amazing. It's so easy to make, and it's not really a style of dish that most people are familiar with, so it's a nice change for people. Anyway, that was really good. Okay, we are almost ready here. My meatballs are good, my tomato sauce is hot, and we're almost ready to go here. I'll show you how to put this together. Plates from I can get the plates out, actually. Plates are in the oven, of course. Yeah, they're pretty hot. Okay, so I'm gonna, oh, carnitas, that's right. We're gonna do that too, because I also want to, I want to redo the making the homemade tortillas. Okay, we'll do latkes. Latkes is not, okay. Somebody has to, we have to think of it as something I can make in addition to latkes. I love latkes, but it's not a whole, maybe it is. Should I do a whole stream on latkes? Why not? Let's do that. I will make latkes. There's a few, and you know what? Latkes have some good techniques in them as well. So I'm going to plate these individually. However, where did my tongs go? The best way to do this is to take what I'm doing for each individual dish, if you're serving this for a whole bunch of people, and then make a giant platter and plunk it in the middle of the table and give everybody tongs and just have them go to town. But I'm going to do them individually here because there's only two of us. So you guys can't really see this, so I'm going to tell you what I'm doing because I kind of have to do this part over the stovetop. But you know we separated the meatballs into, well, we got our meatball. Where's here? Oh, wait. There we go. We got our meatballs just simmering in our sauce here. And we have also the main pot of sauce, which is here, okay? I just splashed the plate. So the way this goes is I'm just going to toss the, I'm going to do latkes next week. There, we're done. I'm going to toss the spaghetti right out of the pot in, you know, and a little bit wet because I want some of that starchy pasta water straight into this tomato sauce. And then, well, now we're going to do it. So now you're going to see. And then we're going to add the meatballs as we go. Here we go. Turn everything off. And again, you guys can't see this, but I got tongs here, getting the pasta out of the pot. I don't care, you don't need to let it drain completely. It's okay to throw in some of that pasta water. It's starchy, yummy goodness, and it's going to help thicken the sauce just a little bit. So let's bring this over here so you guys can see. So there you go. We got our noodles in here, and we're just gonna like give them a toss, get everything coated. Always, 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 guys, add your pasta to your sauce, then add the sauce to the counter. See? There we go. But there we go. Get a nice coating here. And if so, I normally do this in my wok actually because it's really easy to like flip and mix the pasta. But there you go. So we've got a nice pasta mix. Get our meatballs here, and I'm gonna do one. Take it to Serena. So there's a couple of ways you can do this. Let's see if I can roll it up here. Grab like, yeah, this will work. Oh, where's my ladle? Here we are. Okay, so you grab a little bit of here. So you got a little bit of pasta, and then some meatballs. Right, just like that, and then a little more pasta, or a lot more pasta maybe. And we're just gonna layer it. So when you're making a huge platter of this, there we go, look at that, look at that. And then some more meatballs on top. They're falling all over the place, doesn't matter, this is rustic, right? So there you go. I'm going to be a little bit vain and clean up the rim a bit here. You guys can see this okay, right? And let's just give it a little bit of cheese over the whole thing. Right? A little more cheese is always right. And I'm going to get this off to Serena, who's probably starving by now. And I'll be right back. hot. Okay, still okay. Okay, I'm back for the taste test. Any questions as I put this guy back together? See if we can get a nice presentation for you guys. So again, we got our little, this was the cool thing from a couple of weeks ago. Our little tongs for twirling up. And this is just kind of a nice presentation. It allows you to make this like little tower thing. Meatballs on top. So we got a layer of meatballs. This is almost like making, you know, it's almost like making nachos, right? Where you layer all the things together. And there we go. On top. Wow, these are huge portions. It's so funny. Okay, I'm gonna grab like the last little bit here. Okay, this part's less elegant, but I'm gonna slop that guy over there. Mountain of pasta. One final round of meatballs. There we go. This out of the way. This out of the way. Give it a bit of a wipe down so we have a clean presentation. So there you go, guys. This is a little off center, but that's all right. I don't know. Listen to me. I'm talking about my dish presentation being off center for like a family style rustic thing. This is Rebecca. This is a spaghetti. But it's a thick spaghetti. It's a spaghetti Chitara number 12. So it's kind of like spaghetti on steroids. Out of big forks. That's frustrating. Okay, I have a little fork, but we're gonna try and do this. And here's the thing: like you can get your meatball and your pasta. The whole point of doing these like little meatballs, get everything in one shot. And guys, it's interesting because, wow. I think we talked about this the other week when I was talking about the stellini pasta and just like an Italian comfort food, but it's basically Alfredo, but with little tiny star pasta. But I was saying that making that fresh evoked the memory of craft dinner. They do splatter everywhere. It's just one of the things you have to live with. And this, to me, like, if I could go back in time, I'm sure it would be different. But this, to me, tastes like this is the iconic spaghetti and meatballs diner dish that you got everywhere. It just tastes amazing. I just want to eat this whole bowl all at once. It's fantastic. And this is so simple, guys. This is just like, yeah. Okay, so we don't need to do a whole episode of Watch Rob Eat. I highly recommend doing it this way. These meatballs could even be smaller, I think. But wow, it's just it's so simple. Yeah. Sorry guys, huge fan. You guys should all make this. It is so easy. And it tastes amazing. And I don't know, depending on your history, upbringing, where you grew up or whatever, but if you had an Italian diner, Italian restaurant in your past, this will take you back there like instantly. I mean, speaking of ratatouille, this dish is the ratatouille pen drop scene, I bet, for everybody. Yeah, Mother's Pizza. We had La Cantina, which was a really waspy version of Italian food. But back when I was growing up, and like I was going there in like the 70s. It was Italian fine dining. You can tell I'm distracted because I just did air quotes, which I never do. Oh my god, that's embarrassing. Anyway. Alright. I'm not gonna make you guys watch me eat. I'm gonna hang around for a couple of seconds for questions. I'm gonna finish my pasta. But this one, guys, this is solidly in the win column. This is fantastic. And there's no, I mean, we teach technique here, but you put this together the way I did, you can't go wrong. You really can't. I bet you if you have Chef Boyardee or something in your past, this will take you back as well. It's really that good. I mean, not that Chef Boyardee is good, but you know what I mean. Like, it's that, oh, wow. This is, yeah. This is a memory dish. You know, the taste, it smells, everything about it is just fantastic. Anyway, and we're in just under an hour here. Yes. See? That is it. That's what you want. You know? Like, no pretense, good, solid cooking. It's great. And there's nothing less pretentious than spaghetti and meatballs, let's face it. It's good, guys. Okay. I am going to, yeah, the pastino is good, right, Serena? I'm going to sign off because I want to eat this while it's piping hot and it's delicious. Join me next week for latkes. That's going to be a lot of fun. I love making latkes. And we haven't done something. I'm going to try and think of maybe something to go with it. I don't know. Maybe I won't. But knowing how to make latkes, a good latke, is a life skill, okay? It's very important. So everybody make sure they tune in next week for that, or you'll be missing out. So everybody have an amazing evening. As always, guys. Like, I love doing this for you guys. I like doing it for me, too. Don't get me wrong. Like, this is satisfying for me as well. But it's nice to have company when I'm cooking. And one of the few good things that came out of COVID for me. So have an amazing week. I'll see you guys next week for latkes, and that's it.